We are live. I'm so excited. Okay, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Another episode of the Love Mastery podcast. And I'm excited because it's going to get juicy. I said it this morning. I woke up in such a fire mode. And I know when I'm in this mode, everything is like so juicy as fuck. And that's the way I love to feel every day. And one of the good things that I want to talk to you about, and I actually expressed it this morning, we women go through so many challenges in life, and we overcome things that we don't even know that it's going to happen. But today we're going to talk about something very intimate that I know for a fact that a lot of women has suffered, and it's also about domestic violence. And it's so common, and a lot of women actually do keep that to themselves. And I think it's time for us to speak our truth and to allow ourselves to be genuine and authentic, because there's ways that you could just step out of that uncomfortable zone. And I am so honored to have here today in the Love Mastery podcast this beautiful Bali girl now. Her name is Melanie Brandt, and she goes by Mel. And here we all know we talk about love in life and relationship and in your entrepreneurship. And she is the mother of two beautiful daughters and founder for successful companies, actually generating multiple six and multiple seven figures. And don't we all want that? We all want to expand. We all want it. If you are a person right now that think that that's not possible, yes, it is. So welcome to this room, because here we are determined. We are determined in our future. We are determined in our growth. We are determined into more love, more ability. Yes, we do come from resilience. We come from a lot of self-awareness, but this is the conversations that allow us to tell you that it's everything is possible and that you could face anything in your life and everything is going to be okay. Why? Because you love yourself more. Thank you for being here today. I'm honored to have you. Tell me something. I'm so flattered to ask you something, like behind closed doors with this amazing life from Australia to
Mm.
Bali, living your dream life, stepping out of those forms that we were grown into, and now to finally fulfill and enjoy the pleasures that life has for you. So, who is Melanie behind closed doors?
Oh, I love that. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. And oh gosh, how do I enter in with such a big question? Because behind closed doors for me looks exactly like what people see online. I showcase the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, behind closed doors for me now looks like more of a calm nervous system than I've ever felt, which is crazy for me, coming from where I've come from, the things that I went through, what life used to look like. Like fight or flight was so normal for me. That was just my standard operating procedure. I'm unsure how my heart still beats because, back then it's like it beat the death out of itself, in the situations that I was in and the stress and, just the day to day. And now a huge part of moving to Bali was the fact that there always has to be a sacrifice. And this is what I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand. There is no shortcut. You think there might be, and you'll continue to choose those options, but you will just keep being redirected exactly back to where you started. So once I realized that there was going to be a sacrifice, I had to choose. And having two young girls, I was like, well, am I going to make a sacrifice now while they're young? And we're talking, 10 years ago now when I started in the online space. Well, am I going to make a sacrifice now? Or should I wait and make it when they're a little bit older? And I chose to make that sacrifice when they were younger because my hopes were that they're not going to remember as much as what I hope that they didn't. So I chose to build my businesses when they were really young. So in that, the move to Bali was we have now somewhat made it. Now, when I say made it, there's still a million things I can learn. There's still a million pieces of growth that can happen. But we've got the businesses to the point now where it was doable for us to make that jump. But also, from a personal perspective, I was so ready for my nervous system to just fucking calm down. From holding the fort. I mean, my eldest is about to turn 16, right? From holding the fort as a solo mum who now has 5 companies. It was like, I need to rest. I need to rest. And for me, it wasn't resting in small moments and then going again. It was like, I need to absolutely send it. Like everything I have put into building this empire that's going to give us more choices to be able to say yes to more was really the goal that I was building. So, behind closed doors now, what does life look like? Well, we talk about the 3 day CEO method now. And I've always been quite rebellious. And for me, with the government telling me that, you can work 5 days and you can take off 2, I was like, how about I work 3 and take off 4? That sounds good to me. So that's what we do now.
I love that. Yes. And you're so right about your nervous system because I remember I now it's a lot calmer. And I think I mean I do embodiments every day. It's a continuance. And I think the more you expand, the more you know that there's sometimes you have to recalibrate again.
Yeah.
And but it has done so many wonders in my life because I used to
Yeah.
worry so much and overthink and not even being able to sleep because imagine working 7 days a week because I didn't have days off. It
Yeah.
was 7 days a week for
Yep.
17 years. I was exhausted and my nervous system was like, and at one
Right.
point when I quit, I remember I had to have my phone by me all day long. I always had to have that computer next to me, the laptop. I always, oh my gosh, am I missing a call? And all those thoughts, and thank God,
Yeah.
like now it's like, okay, my phone could stay here. I'm good. Let's just go
Yeah.
outside. Let's
And
just walk. Let's do this. I could go on a solo date and put my phone down and not even worry. I don't care about taking the pictures,
yeah.
and I'm taking
And
pictures, but little things like that.
yeah. Yeah, and this is a bit that I think people don't speak enough about is what actually happens when you slow down. Because I think everybody, that's the goal that they're going for is, I want to work less and earn more. But I had to have more integration at that moment where I started doing less than what I've ever had to have in my business alone because I was the same. I was like, if I'm not working, my business is going to fall apart. It was complete lies, right? But these were the stories that my brain was telling me, where it was like, no, 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 no. Like if you stop for more than a couple of days, like this whole thing is going to fall apart. And I really had to sit with, is this true? Is this real? No was the answer. Okay, stop and just sit, stop and just sit, stop and just sit. And now, now I can go MIA for days, and my team are like, "Where in the world are you?" Which I absolutely love that I can drop my phone and off it goes. But I think also it's about the systems that you build as well. For me, I understand that she who speaks to the most wins. So we've set up systems that have allowed that when my phone gets put down, my phone is actually still working. I'm not. So that was something for me that I don't know, I felt a little bit genius to actually work out was how can I be the only one in the room that when I put my phone down, it goes to work. And, for me, that was a huge part of my nervous system being able to actually chill was that when I would then go and check my phone, I'd be like, oh, I just had 3 calls booked in an hour and I was sipping daiquiris at a beach club, this to me is like the ultimate mastery in wealth because wealth is so many things, and for me, it was the ultimate mastery in wealth because it was like I no longer will allow my nervous system to be fried in order to earn income or be able to, create more opportunities in my life. So I think that was a huge pivotal moment for me was working that out. It did cost me 6 figures and I had to actually develop my own software to be able to do so. But thank God I did because now I can actually rest for real. And it's quite funny because, I looked at my calendar next week and it's like, oh, I said that I work 3 days and take off 4. And it's like next week we're taking off 5, and working 1, and it's like, how is this life even possible? But I think it really is when you reverse engineer exactly where you want to be and what you want your lifestyle to look at. Whereas I think a lot of the time, especially in business, we think, oh, I just need to make the money. I just need to hit six figures. I just need to. So we're building it forwards. And then when we arrive, we realize that we've just given ourselves a full-time job that looks exactly like the shitstorm that we got out of 10 years ago. And I actually did that with my first company. I built it. It was super successful, super quickly. And then when I literally reached that pinnacle position, I was like, oh shit, oh shit, like I can't scale this unless I want to work more. There's no way to scale this. So I actually shut down a completely successful six-figure company with hundreds of franchises, within that business so that I could start again because I was like, there is no way in hell am I going to stay backed into a corner.
And that's a really point of view because it's true. I remember while I was working 7 days a week, I went all the way up to 80 hours a week in order to build my store and the business and have it all together and invite. I couldn't do it all, so I was bringing, community members to come and also do their work and, just sharing collaborations. But I realized that that wasn't exactly what after 3 years, I'm like, this is another job. And I don't want that. I want the time and freedom. I want to be able to continue to serve this world. But I want my love, the divine grace of me as authentic, that I could still show up. Just
Mm,
show up, just not like collapse because I'm working 5 to almost 7 days a week again. Because when you're owner of a small business, regardless, there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes as well. And even though I could have kept it, but one of the things that I learned from that experience was that no one had the vision and the love that I had in that business that could take over and do the same thing that I did. And I
yeah.
said, you know what? I'd rather sell this business and continue to create more into mentorships and not coaching or healing and go
Mm,
deeper into help others do the same thing that I'm doing. And
yeah.
and it's beautiful and I love that. In automatizations, it's really it's a big go-to now in this world if you want the time and freedom and you want money to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Exactly
beautiful.
right. Yeah, exactly right. And I think the
Yeah.
journey is so crazy because I remember I just had this vision of what I thought it needed to look like. And let me tell you, it hasn't even looked remotely like that, So I think the more that you can drop your expectations of what this journey is going to look like, the faster you're going to adapt, and the better those results are going to be because you don't have unrealistic expectations of yourself or of your business, and you're just going to go with that flow. People often ask me, Mel, like, what's the secret? Like, how did you do this? How do you continue to just start a business and it pops off every single time? And it's like the only thing it comes down to is understanding that she who speaks to the most wins. People think that it's the sales. People think that it's, the system or the systems come in closely in second, but it really is about who you connect with, who and how good are you at connecting? Because I think if you put every single skill that you have into mastering just that on its own is just communication and how to turn strangers into friends and friends into family, your life's never going to look the same for so many reasons. Your love life will never look the same. Your friendships, your business relationships, nothing will look the same because you've mastered, exactly what's instinctual to us and instinctual to humans is pack mentality, right? We love being around each other. We love building community. We love having people, be right there with us. And it's like, if you can do that in a way where you can build business, friendships, relationships, all of those things in one, you've already won.
Yeah, I love that. And it takes me to our audience for anyone that is going through these major transitions because we all
Mm.
go through them, and we're not here pointing, oh, you're still not done any of like the actions that it takes for you to take that opportunity. But when life gets challenging, and we all know we go through major challenges, but it just gets easier once you master that. It just gets easier, a lot easier. It's like, okay, yeah, no worries. We're opening, we're opening room for more, right?
Yeah.
But when we go through those life transitions and challenging, what helps you stay grounded to be more connected with yourself?
Oh gosh, do you know what? I'm going to be really raw with this because nothing used to help. I was the most reactive, like off the chart, borderline psycho, I guess you could say, with how I handled myself. I'm going to be brutally honest because, I'd come from a life of trauma. Obviously, then as I entered into relationships in my teenage years and young 20s, guess what? That's exactly what I found myself in again. And I hadn't learned even how to articulate my own situation or traumas before I was carrying the weight of other people's as well. So, how did I stay grounded? I didn't. I completely fucked it up all the way to here. I'm not gonna lie. Like I got it wrong so many times, which it was so important for that to happen, was to just continue to get it wrong until I got it right. So that's really how I got here was, not getting it right every single time, but then learning from that. You know what? I don't want to handle it like that again. You know what? I want to be more chill. You know what? I want to learn how to, calm my nervous system and all of those things. So I got it so wrong on the journey here. So wrong. And I handled so many situations in a way that, I would definitely probably handle different, or I do handle different now. But I think that's the thing is too many people are getting caught up in like, I've got to get it right first time. No, you don't. And guess what? You're not going to. So the more brutal you are in like, let's just fail forward, rather than calling it failing. Like I failed forward so many times, but I only failed forward because I was willing to look at how I got it wrong last time, So I think that for me now is the catalyst. Like, how do I chill now? Because I've learned now, I handle situations different now, but also the energy that's around me is so different now because I don't allow anything less. Whereas before, oh my God, I was surrounded by people that wanted to see me lose. I was surrounded by people that, really struggled to watch me take that step that they wouldn't dare take, So I think that was key as well, was when I became ballsy enough to just start, unapologetically removing people from my life, my nervous system calmed down. How crazy, right? Because I just wasn't carrying everyone else's dramas and burdens.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you love people deeply. We're meant to connect with amazing people, and you love them deeply, but deep inside, they don't love you. And
Mm,
and I could say this really raw, really true, because I also went through that, and I said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm always
mm,
here available whenever you need me. I'm always here. I have helped people like make fucking money, and you mean
mm,
to tell me that you talking shit, that you are in my face doing all kinds of like comments and
mm.
negative things, or you're doing a business out of this? I'm like, what? Spirituality is
Yeah.
business. Spirituality is God. Spirituality is wealth. Spirituality is peace. Spirit. What are you masking yourself, or are you really wanting to help people? And
Mm.
so, and I could continue on and on, but I said no. I mean, I have always been a warrior. I have always been a life experimenter.
Mm,
I don't need you in my life. I don't need people that are always complaining. I don't need people to be always playing the victim. I don't need
yeah,
people to always come and just ask for help only because it's a one-way street. No, my dear friend, that's
yeah.
not the person I am. We all grow together if you really want the true growth. And
Mm,
if you want to stay behind, I'm sorry, but I gotta continue. I'm not gonna stay stuck. That
exactly.
I'm a generator. I fucking go. It's like I'm a
Yeah.
energizer bunny, and if I fail, I wake up the next day and I said, and I will think about it, and I will accordingly react. I'm not gonna make the same mistake again,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
that's
Although
not
I
gonna continue
did.
stuck.
I did, right? I made the same mistake a few times. Like if we talk about relationships, like Jesus,
Oh,
I let people come back into my life so many times after they had royally fucked up, And but that just came down to that self-worth. Like I that was still a portion that I was working on heavily in my life for so many years, was that self-worth. But once that self-worth penny dropped, holy did life change, and really for me the first moment that that self-worth drops was when I left a domestic violence situation that nearly killed me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like what am I doing, this is the worst decision, I need to go back. There was all those feelings that came up, and there was something inside of me that was like, no, like this is it now, this is done, and now we're going to start healing, but we're going to start healing generations of trauma. And I believe that you're only handed the things that you can handle, as sometimes hard as that it is to swallow, and it was for me as well, because some of the things that I were handed were things that people should never have to deal with. But when that penny dropped and that self-worth really dropped into my life and my presence, it was it was so powerful on so many levels that this journey over the last 10 years of what I thought has been business has actually been a personal development course cleverly disguised as a business. I've learned more about myself than I think I ever would have or could have, because business sped that process up. I needed to become her long before she existed. And that was
yes.
really cool to be able to tap into. I remember somebody saying to me, and it took me so long to work this out. I reckon it was years. I heard them say it. For some reason, it stuck with me, but I never understood it. And it was like, you need to go to where you're heading and wait for yourself to catch up. And I was like, what? I don't get it. Right. But then the day that that landed, I was like, oh. Oh, now I know. And it was years. It was like at least 2 years later. I was like, oh my God, now I know exactly what that means. Like, if I want to be a multimillionaire, I need to hold myself like that. I need to dress like that. I need to build my business like that. I need to invest like that. Like, what would she be doing? Would she be living in Australia where she's not really that happy right now? Or would she just like pack up her shit and move to Bali? And it's like, so this is how I make all those decisions now, is it's like, well, what would she do? Because if I'm constantly asking that question, I'm constantly evolving into that next version of myself that's willing to take those risks rather than staying stuck in the version that I already am.
Yes, you're totally right. I'm in the same boat and it will catch up to you. I have done it like I went really deep a year ago when I left corporate. Actually before I left corporate, but I took some time
Mm.
off because I went in travel. I'm
Yeah,
like 17 years working 7 days a week. Let me just take a break. So
perfect.
I went to like 4 or 5 trips and then I came back. Okay, it's time. Get ready,
Yeah.
girl. And I just did. It's like devotion, devotion, devotion. I have given myself so much love, and I allowed her to just feel deeply, feel it
Mm.
all, and just go from that space. Like
Yeah.
I come home every night, every morning, every day, and anytime I need to come home to myself, and it's like just breathe. everything,
Yeah.
it's fine, and you walk as is, you talk like is, you continue to create from that version of that makes you fucking happy, because that
Yeah.
version of you is waiting for you to always be happy, because that's exactly what you desire. So if something
Yeah.
currently it's not working for you, why are you continue to do it?
Yeah.
No
Exactly.
use. No use.
Exactly.
What qualities after, and I want to congratulate you from coming from abusive relationship. I also, my first relationship, I got married when I was 21, and that was very abusive. And it took me
Mm.
10 years to go into another relationship after that. I didn't want to have a relationship. I was just
Yeah.
living my single life, doing whatever the fuck I want, partying, crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't want a steady relationship. And it took me like 10 years to go into, like, starting to date, or,
Mhm.
even have sex with someone that I wanted to be with that person for a longer period of time. At times
Mm.
I didn't even, I just had that casual, like, let's just connect, see you later. I don't want your
Yeah.
number. And like,
Yeah.
I went through those stages. No, for
Of
sure. This
course.
is the
Of
reality
course.
check. And so I understand the pain, and actually the trauma that it causes after that. And to
Yeah.
take ourselves from that, I'm really celebrating you today.
Thank
What
you.
qualities do you believe and create that now it's a good to have a healthy, loving relationship? What qualities in life is it? Because I speak about love, and the more you love yourself, the more you pour that love, then
Yeah.
that's the person you want to attract to, that will love you just for you, for who you are.
Mm. Yeah, I think the qualities for me, I had to learn how to detach. That was really important for me because I had, there were so many parts of my life where love didn't exist, that I would meet somebody and I'd latch on, right? Because I'm like, maybe this is it, maybe this is it. And when I learned to detach, which was Bali again for me, like I'm almost 41 years old. Like this didn't happen when I was young. This has only recently happened for me where, you know, I mean, I came here to heal. But in that journey, I've learned detachment on such a powerful level where I am back in the power again, where, I don't just connect with people because it seems like a good idea, and the young version of me would have. If somebody paid me attention when I was younger, I was like, okay, let's be a
Let's
couple.
go.
Let's go. Let's do this, and then I'd get a few months in and be like, do I even actually like this person? Like, this person gives me the shits. And now, I mean, like I said, we've been here 15 months now and, not dating at all. And, really just allowing myself to just sit with myself. Like that was such a powerful quality to end up having was I feel as though, there's probably only a few little chapters left, and getting back into the gym is another one of them. But I feel as though that journey of self-mastery, like I've never been closer than what I am now in understanding myself, understanding what my triggers are, understanding what are the things left that I need to work on, what are my powerful qualities, what are my superpowers. And these were all things that I guess I just swept under the rug before because it was like, well, I don't matter. I don't matter. So why do those things matter? And now I'm like, oh, hell, get out of my way, like get out of my way because I got shit to do. I got people to meet. And, I really think that the gift in all of this was falling back in love with myself. That was the gift in all of this. Although, and I want to share this because there was a lot of judgment, a lot. And probably, from what I know, it was in rooms that I wasn't in, but a lot of judgment in the move to Bali because my two daughters moved over with me and they're 16 and 12. And the one thing about Bali is it's amazing, but it's very transient, right? People come, people go. Not a lot of people are living here, and if they are, they're not really living where we are, which is right in the middle of the hustle and bustle. They kind of go out a little bit further out where it's cheaper to live. And my girls really struggled making friends because they've always been a lot like me. Where having friends and meeting people has always been something that's quite important. And my eldest actually decided, you know what, I think I want to go back to Australia and live with her dad. And the girls have got different dads. And I was like, okay, fine, that's fine, but life doesn't look the same over there. Yeah. And you need to be fully aware of all of these things. And, if you decide to go back, you know that you can fly in between the two countries as it suits you. What a life. But also, after that, my 12-year-old, her dad actually put a no-fly watch on her passport, and it didn't allow me to bring her back to Indonesia. So there's been so many things that happened in this move that floored me, absolutely floored me. From going from being a single mom provider for 15 years to then not having my kids with me at all and making the decision to stay. Oh my God, I can't. I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of the rooms that conversations have gone down in, because society says, to be a good mother, I should have packed up everything and I should have gone with them. But when I was able to have that conversation with my daughters and say to them that it's now my time. Yeah, you guys are old enough, right? And my daughters are exactly like me, super independent. They might be 12 and 16, but they're like 25 and 45. And I just said to them that it's so important for me to continue on this journey of self-mastery and healing, because I'm there. I'm there. It's not that I'm making this decision. My body's made the decision for me, where it's like, it's time. It's time now for you to start pouring back into yourself everything that you've poured into your kids, your businesses, your community, your friendships, and start pouring that back into yourself. And when I could get to a point with my daughters where they were both like, do you know what? Yes, we want this for you as much as you want this for you. I was like, wow, how powerful is that to raise two little humans that get it on a level that they're not quite even ready for yet? To be like, this journey for her is so much bigger than just her now. And it's about her evolving into this next version. Like, so powerful. But there were so many people that have got such small minds that were like, oh my God, your job as a mother, like you should be with them. And no, my job as a mother is not to ever lose myself again. And I think that there is too much power put into all of the mothers out there that are constantly abandoning themselves and calling that being a good
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. They don't see it as self-abandonment, but it is.
mom.
And and
100%
and
of it.
and another thing is that also they feel that they're in possession
Mhm.
of their kids, and when in reality, you help them grow, but they're also individual people that
Yeah,
can also make decisions for themselves, and they have to learn. I
exactly.
had to grow at an early age, since 14, and
Same.
by age 18, I was already out of the house and I was living, and sometimes I didn't have any money, but I freaking figured it out
Exactly.
in my darkest nights, and I just figure it out, and I continue to figure it out. But at 21, I already built my own first business, and then I
Yeah.
got married and I lost it all. But then from there, I became this person that I was for 17 years. And I went
Yeah.
from $11 an hour to six figures. I mean, I fucking did it. I showed up for myself.
Yeah.
Everything I built, it hasn't come from my family. I haven't been supported in that. I didn't need it. I didn't ever
Yeah.
ask. I just figure it out, and we all do. But what if you never figure out on your own and you allow yourself to just abandon the most deepest love that you
Yeah.
have? And that is a game changer. It changes your
Yeah.
life, it changes your environment. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
100%.
what, like, now that you're working with multiple six figures, working with companies multiple six figures, seven figures, what mindset shift makes the biggest difference for you financially, like for anyone that now is in
Wow.
transition?
Yeah, to be honest, I guess I always doubted myself. That was probably the downfall for me was, I would work with people that were far more successful than where I was at. And I was like, why are these people attracted to working with me? Like, what is that? You know, and I started to ask the questions. I started to ask these people, like, why me? And they were like, your determination and your grit and your consistency, you know, and the way that you show up, like it's out of control, you know, and we want that. Like we want some of that. And you know, when I really started to trust myself, and when I really started to go, Mel, like you have some of the most powerful information. How you're running your business is how most of these people, even though they've built empires that are far greater than yours, they don't have the life that you've got. They're still missing that piece. They still, you know, they're still on that hamster wheel every single day. And, you know, when I kind of realized that, I was like, wow, like I really do have the golden ticket and I know how to do it. And I've done it. You know, we're on time number 5 now, of just that wash, rinse, repeat. And when I learned the process of how to build a business that scales extremely fast, it was crazy because I'm actually a bit of a closet nerd, believe it or not. And I get really addicted to the numbers and the data because it doesn't lie. And when I started looking at the data, the first company I built, we built to 6 figures a year, and it took 18 months to do it. Then, when I shut that down, because remember, that gave me a full time job and I didn't own my time. Then, when I started my next company, it took me 7 months to do 6 figures in a week. And I was like, oh shit, something something just happened. And I think, you know, a lot of the spiritual people would call that quantum leaping, right? And I was like, but I got really obsessed in the data behind that. I was like, how the hell did I just do that? Because it was a fluke, right? I didn't really know what I'd done. Now, looking at the data, it's very clear on what happened. So I was like, okay. So then the next company I built, we had 2 purchase orders for 6 figures before the product had even been built in China. So a huge super retail chain, similar to like Costco, I guess you could say, basically grabbed this product that we were making and was like, we're going to buy every single one that you want. And it got distributed to 147 stores all over Australia. And I was like, did we just quantum leap like again? Because I was thinking like, how is it possible? How can this get better? And then company number 4, same thing. It was like, I want to now create a reoccurring revenue that looks like this, you know? And same thing. When we launched that company, it literally went global overnight, which was wild. And you know, now I'm probably a week or 2 off launching company number 5, and we've already got women all, because this one's a clothing brand. We've already got women all over the world that are waiting to wear this brand when they speak on stage and things like that, because that's what it was designed for. And you know, getting obsessed with that quantum leaping and that data, what needed to happen. It wasn't that I needed to sell more, market more. I just needed to be more. I just
Oh,
needed to be more. And I needed my nervous system to be able to hold more, but not in a hold more as in a, oh my God, you know, I'm carrying everyone's shit. I needed my nervous system to be able to just hold what I wasn't able to hold before. You know, even though I was running at such a high capacity before, I wasn't able to hold much before I would lose my shit, or I would, you know, melt down, or I would, you know, be so overwhelmed. Now I can hold such a larger capacity because it's coming with such a nicer frequency. It's coming with such a different energy. That, you know, now if you had have asked me, could I hold 5 companies 10 years ago, I would have been like, are you fucking serious? I struggle to get dressed every day. You know, we're lucky we got pants on. You know, whereas now I'm like, man, give me another one. Give me another one, because there's such a strategic process that happens that every time you roll it out the next time, it's like, oh, well, that was easy. And once you become better at delegation, and once you understand that when you spend money, you make money. Yeah. And you get rid of all of those things that we have at the start of business, which is like, oh, I'm not going to invest because I don't really have I don't really have that much in my bank right now. Like, there's no way I could invest all of that. Whereas when you realize the faster you pay somebody to show you how to get from A to Z, the faster you're going to build the life that you require. And that takes investing, whether that's in property or however you decide to do it. The faster that I invested, the faster I got to where I wanted to go. And now people pay me to show them how to do exactly that.
And that's beautiful. And of course, and let me, because we have viewers from every aspect of life,
Yeah, I love that.
and we could talk about millions, we could talk about six
Mm.
figures, seven figures, whatever
Yep.
the case may be. But let's say, for instance, for a beginner, don't let these
Sure.
numbers fool you or
No.
scare you, because you are available to invest also at your level
Yeah.
of your game if you
Yep.
know how to manage your money.
Yeah. Yep.
Anytime,
Exactly.
at
And
any level. So anyone that
yeah.
comes into my life and says they don't have any money, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with their money.
No, I call bullshit because, as a single mom with two kids, I literally didn't have the money to invest, like every week I was living week to week. I was scared to check the letterbox. Yeah, I remember, and I go like this because that's where the feeling was, just this anxiety that I would have to even check the letterbox because I was like, oh my God, if there's one more bill in here, we're screwed, and honestly, I found a way to make that first investment, and I used to ask questions where it was like, okay, well, because a lot of places like, oh no, you need to pay in full, no, you don't. No, you don't. I used to say to them, like, what's the absolute lowest that I could pay in order to come and do your program where it works for you and it's going to work for me? And do you know how willing people are? Yeah,
Yeah.
to make that work for you. And I think I had it down to like 60 or $70 a week, right? Which was so doable. It was still at the time, it was doable, but it still pushed me, right? Because that 60 or $70 could have gone on a gazillion other things. But it was like, what's the sacrifice you're going to make? Because there has to be one. And if there isn't one, I can guarantee you're not where you want to be because you haven't made the sacrifice yet. Whether that is in investing, whether that's in learning a new skill, whether that's in dropping one day at work so that you can start that business you want to. Where, like, I made so many sacrifices, so many, and some of them I'm not proud of, but it had to be done. I sacrificed time with my children when they were young, at the really cute age that I'm never going to get back ever again. But now, last week, I was able to ring my 16-year-old daughter and go, what are you doing? What are you doing in like a couple of weeks? And she was like, why? She knows, right? She knows me. She's like, you're up to something. And I was like, well, I just booked us flights to go from Australia to New Zealand, New Zealand to LA, LA to Texas, Texas to San Fran, San Fran back to New Zealand, back to Australia, and then back to Bali. And she was like, you're kidding me. And I was like, and we're going to do this together. Like, this is going to be a little girl's trip. And you know what she said to me? And I've got to not get emotional. She said to me, Mum, I remember you started this in the garage. And now you're booking us flights all over the world. And I was like, fuck, fuck. So when people say, like, what does it feel like, when you make it, it's never about what's sitting in the account right now. It's never about how many clients we've got and, all the things. It's that moment right there. That
Yeah.
moment right there where I was able to show her what determined, motivated, badass looked like rather than expecting that from her. Because that's what my mum did. I don't know if yours did, but my mum, oh, you've got to be all of these things. And she was none of them. Yeah, was to actually go and be her. Go and be her, even when you've got to sacrifice time with your kids, even when you've got to maybe not eat that day, right? Even like whatever you have to do, trust me, when you get to where you're going, it's worth it 1,000 times over, more than what you could imagine. For little moments like that, for a 16-year-old woman to now see exactly why I did the things that I did, so that now we're never going to struggle another day of our life, her kids' life. That shit's legacy.
Yes, that is it. Generational wealth. New
Yeah.
fucking money, bitches. Get your
That's
ass
it.
straight.
That's it, right?
It is.
And, removing that generations of trauma as
Yes.
well. Like, my girls have never seen what I saw. Their kids are never going to see it, but they're never going to have to worry about where money's coming from because they've learned the art of building businesses right from a young age, right from a young age. And that, you can't pay for that. That's a skill you can't pay for.
Yeah, beautifully. Yes, I love that. What's one advice you will give anyone that it's now ready to evolve? And I don't care what level their life, because I mean, I
Yeah.
love working with successful women. I love
Mm.
working with high achievers, women that are multifaceted, women that don't give a fuck. Let's fucking go, because
Yeah.
this is what I want. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's the
Love
that
that.
I am that person. I am that woman. That's why I
Yeah.
love working with women that know that she is meant for more. So what
Mm.
advice will you give for that woman that she is in that edge? Should I or should I not move forward
Yeah.
to a deeper evolution into her business or whatever? Because this is, I mean, entrepreneurship will break you open to move into your
Oh my
most
God.
beautiful
Yeah.
life that you have created. So if she's an entrepreneur or she's a business owner
Mm.
at this time, what is actually what can you advice can you give this woman so she could just step
Yeah.
out of it and just move forward?
Look, if not this, then what would be what I would say? If not this, then what? If not entrepreneurship, then what? If not chasing your own dreams, then what? Because I can guarantee you that the then what is the shitty bit. The then what? What? Full-time job building someone else's dream? Then what? You're going to get told when you can pee and eat? Then what? You're going to get 4 weeks off a year? You're going to miss all the milestones of your children? Like, that's the then what. So you have a decision to make. And also, there was no way over my dead body was I ever going to look at my children and say to them, we could have had it all, but I couldn't be bothered. No way.
Yeah.
No way. So my question to them would be, can you look your kids, your family, your mum, your dad, anybody that's important to you in your life right now, can you look them in the eyes and say to them, I want to have it all, but I can't be bothered. If you can, then do it. But I bet you that most people cannot. And therefore, there's your answer. It's go time.
Yeah, I love it. And let's talk about this. You know, I'm very passionate about love and life and relationships and business,
Yeah.
and I could talk about this all day long. But this world needs more of what in your own world, in your own words?
Oh my goodness. To be honest, I think this world needs more fun. Think we've all forgotten how to have fun. Like, we're all so serious about like things like building business or parenting or, there's a lot of people here in Bali right now. Like, I'm an influencer. I have to act a certain way. I have to look a certain way. Like, just stop and just go back to all the things that used to light you up. I mean, a few weeks ago, my daughter was like, Mum, can we go to a roller skating like rink? And I was like, oh, yes. Because I used to love doing that when I was a little girl, was like rollerblading. And it was so funny because we walked in there and my daughter was like, do you even know how to do this? And I was like, sit down, watch this, right? And she was like, oh my God, you can do it. And I was like, yeah, I can. I can do it better than you can do it. And, it was little moments like that that actually made me realize, like, how am I at least once a month, if not more, locking in something that lights up my younger self, that really anchors me back into my little girl, because the world can really turn you into a super serious person if you let it. And I think the world at the moment, with everything that's going on, wars, and people are struggling with just the cost of living. Like, we need to just have a little bit more fun because you really only do get one shot at this, and we expect that tomorrow is going to be there.
it is so true. It's like I'm a little girl. I go outside and I play with little plants. I'm like, this
Yeah,
makes me happy right now at this moment. Then I go outside and
yeah,
I dance, whatever makes me happy at that time. And it's
yeah,
beautiful. I love exploring. So I love that you went and did, oh my God, with your daughter. But she was so happy and the smile
yeah,
with her and the bonding. Not also
yeah.
that, but that's amazing bonding. And you probably didn't have that as a girl. So
No,
now that you had this opportunity to enjoy it
yeah.
with your daughter, that's something that she's always going to remember about you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's about just getting out of your own way because I think there's a lot of, I'm going to speak about mums because I can't really speak about dads because I'm not one, but for us as mums, no, you go do it. I'll watch, right? Because we stop testing ourselves. We stop putting ourselves in difficult situations. We stop putting ourselves in situations that are going to stretch us. Yeah, because it's just easier to stay comfortable, right? So I actually just allow my girls when they say crazy things like, let's go and, get in a helicopter, mom. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, why would I say no? Because this is the thing, build the life that allows you to say yes to more. Where people, and I'm sure again in closed rooms, there's people that are like, oh my God, they do the most extravagant things. But it was always about saying yes to more. The only
Yeah.
reason I started this was because I didn't want to have to keep saying no. No, I can't afford it. What's the price tag? Like, I don't give a shit about those things. I don't want to give a shit about those things. If I want it, I want to buy it. If my kids want to do it, I want to be able to say yes. And I think really anchoring into why are you doing this and what's it gonna give you at the end, and really being honest with what that looks like, because if you're just doing it for the money, whenever you get to wherever you're going, you're still going to be unhappy. If you're doing it for other reasons, and like I said, for us it was choices and be able to say yes to more. Oh my God, the memories that are now created because of the things that I've done and built far outweigh what I've done and built, if that makes sense. It's so much more now about being able to make those phone calls to my daughter and go, we're about to fly all over the world. I've got a conference to go to in Texas and we're just going to do every single stop on the way. And, just to hear the excitement in her voice and see her say, my God, mum, I can't believe that this is what you've built. Like, oh, hands down it's worth more than anything that I've ever experienced.
I love that. Yes, live the passion and fun life. You cannot
Yeah.
stop being a girl. You cannot stop being an
Yeah.
your inner child. Your inner child will to bring you to the most beautiful day. I mean, I play every
Mm.
day. I have to. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll just do whatever makes me happy. Some days I'm dancing, some days whatever it makes me happy.
Yep.
Like, and I had the pleasure also to share a little bit of that this week. And I took my nephews and nieces because I'm not a mother.
Mhm.
I'm a dog mom. So
Yeah, love it.
I took the kids and, in the water, I am the hostess. Like in the
Yeah.
water anytime. And I took them and they had such a great time. And I played with them. We raced on the jet skis, on the boat. And that's the
Yeah.
pleasure that I had to share the love that I have for them because, I am more
Yeah.
open to do more crazy, adventurous things
Yeah.
that some parents at some times, sometimes they're just not really open enough yet to try things
Yeah.
just because they stop
Yeah.
doing them at a certain point of their life. They're afraid, well, no, I'm too old for that. Too old for
Yeah,
what?
100%. And I think it's just let your kids guide you because in all of this, my kids have taught me the most. My business was, close second, but my kids have taught me the most. And every single time, they don't care about the money, they don't care about the success, they don't care about the businesses. They just care that I'm present, and like I said, there had to be a sacrifice in order to now I'm present for the rest of their life. There's nothing that I'm going to miss for the rest of their life. So, yeah, I think if anyone's listening, it's really about, really sitting with, if not this, then what? Because I think that'll give you your answer.
Perfect. And let's tell the audience where can they find you, my beautiful friends, so they could connect with you directly, send you message, connect with you, book a call. We do it
Yeah,
all.
100%. 100%. So you can find me on all of the platforms. Facebook is the one that I actually play on the most, which is crazy to people's ears these days. But Facebook, it's under Melanie Brandt. Instagram, it's Mel Brandt underscore official. Or you can head to the website, which is www.lifestyleind.com. And you're more than welcome to book a free strategy session if business and business growth is something that's on your radar.
Perfect. I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun and we got to
Yeah.
continue. Thank you so much because I know you're in Bali and I'm here in Florida. So it's actually it was actually 6 p.m. your my time and then your time 6 a.m. and we made
Yeah,
it happen and it's
we
such
did.
a pleasure connecting with beautiful women just like you
Yeah.
are. Mel,
And
thank you so much.
can I add also, like, this is the
Yeah.
power. We connected on Threads, right? Like,
Yeah.
only a week ago. And how crazy, because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing with Threads, but, let's just get on there and give it a go. And, like, this is the power, right, of being so open to meet new people is you make connections like this. You meet other women that are doing amazing things. And I just think, like, I have met some of the most incredible people on social media. And I'm so stoked that our paths have crossed, and I'm heading over your way, right? We might even be able to somehow have a coffee one of these days soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. And maybe I'll meet you in Bali one of these days too. So
I
yeah,
double dare
anything
you,
is
double dare you.
possible. Every time I have conversations about this, we have a date.
Hmm?
It's there's gonna be a time and one day they were like, "Hey, Mel, I'm going
Yeah,
your way. Are you gonna be available?" And just even a coffee
exactly.
chat, and just even if you're busy, but we're not that busy anymore. But a hug, and it's like just an amazing conversation. We are
That's it.
so happy with that. We're not like we are not the type of friends that we need high minutes. We just need
Exactly.
that bonding, that beautiful smile, that beautiful conversation, that beautiful coffee, tea, a drink or whatever it is, just to chill. Look how we fucking made this shit happen.
Yeah, so true. So true.
I love that. So thank you so much, everyone, for
You're
being
so
here.
welcome.
And thank you, Mel, for sharing your wisdom, your
You're
story, your
welcome.
heart with our audience. It's such a beautiful story, and I could continue. We could continue to elaborate a lot more because our path will never define us. And it's beautiful to see how warriors turn into fucking badass bitches, and I love it. I'm
So
in
true.
for it. I'm in for
So
it.
true. So
To every
true.
to everyone listening, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for being here connected. And I will see you on our next episode. Thank you so much. Master your love, master your fucking emotions because emotions and your nervous systems they need to relax the fuck out already. Just relax, breathe. You have the most beautiful life ahead of you, and it starts today. Thank you because you're here to master the legacy that you always been here to build. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful night.